Hi, it's Joy, and today we're going to be watching the Clone Wars Season 5, Episode 16, The Lawless, and things are not going well on Mandalore. Oh god, that was in a lot of ways a tough episode to watch, but this is also such a fascinating plotline and I am loving it. A reminder that you can find the unedited version of this reaction on my Patreon. You get that 2 weeks in advance, the edited version 1 week in advance, and let's go.
I would never betray you, Auntie Satine. I'm here to rescue.
He's grown up! Oh lord, he's gonna die, isn't he?
There was a time when we weren't enemies.
Ooh.
Perhaps that time has come again. You are all taking a terrible risk by helping me.
Yeah. And they're completely up in the open right now, but he's grown up so much. I mean, you know, I guess Bo-Katan and her Death Watch people are trying to fix the mess they created. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. We used to be allies, you know, we used to be camp mates, we buddies, brothers, sisters, now we're killing each other. Great. Oh. Oh no.
I need your help.
Oh dear. Oh god, and that's exactly what Darth Maul's gonna want to happen.
I need your help.
Your thoughts on this, Master Kenobi?
His thoughts are,
Satine has been at
must go
odds with the Death
fight.
Watch for years. Well, it was most likely an independent act
Oh.
caused by the Death Watch alone.
I'm afraid her decision to keep Mandalore neutral makes this situation difficult.
But isn't the Jedi... I mean, I know the Jedi are allied to the Republic, but why should it be? Aren't they supposed to help people? At the very least.
They will not send aid to a neutral system.
At this time, nothing more can we do.
They could at least try and get the prisoners out, even if they can't overturn the decision on Mandalore if it's an internal matter.
Have escaped to have contacted the Jedi just as anticipated.
You have done well.
Oh lord.
People.
Anakin, that's the last time I borrow a ship from you. I think I left it in the ship. Come with me and I'll get it.
Never go into the ship alone with someone that you haven't verified. But please do it for Death Watch. Glad it's a one-size-fits-all situation.
More of your master's bidding.
I do my own bidding.
Obi-Wan.
Helmet back on quick before someone sees, although if they see you hugging her, they'll know.
Alone. An escape plan then.
As always, my dear.
Oh. Oof. Are we just leaving her nephew?
There's no record of
Or did he also escape? I suppose they said that everyone else escaped, didn't they? This is such a badly secured prison.
It's the Duchess. She's getting away.
Again. I know the first time they kind of let them get out, but... Oh fuck. Well, at least... Oh, I was gonna say, at least Obi-Wan could radio in potentially that there are Sith here, and that might get the attention of the Council.
She'll send reinforcements.
Who's your sister?
Ooh, Bo-Katan. That's why she's the rightful heir to Mandalore. You gotta trust him.
It can't be.
Oh, it can. Oh, it can.
Take them back to the palace.
Okay, Bo-Katan and crew, we need you. Fuck.
You should have chosen the dark side, the Master Jedi. Your emotions betray you.
Yeah, but he gets much more pleasure out of life.
Yes.
You can kill me, but you will never destroy me. It takes strength to resist the dark side. Only the weak embrace it.
Very true.
More than you know.
Then you'll ever
It's true that even when you feel that anger and that rage, if you channel it into doing good,
I know the decision to
or-
join the dark side wasn't yours. The Night Sisters made it for you.
Silence.
yeah,
You know me.
yeah he does.
I who length
But it's strength to stay fighting for good, even if anger is what fuels your fight sometimes.
moment tool for my
She's definitely gonna die, because
I never planned on killing
Bo-Katan's the rightful heir. to Mandalore. Oof. I didn't think it was going to be right now. It's kind of been inevitable since they introduced her, knowing what that Mandalore falls.
Remember, my dear Obi-Wan, I've loved you always. I always will.
They could have had a beautiful life together if the Jedi weren't so stupid about attachments. If they actually just taught people to deal with their attachments and not let them make poor decisions, and, you know, made it okay that they had attachments so that they could then go to somebody and say, I'm really struggling. Because Obi-Wan came here without telling the council, so now he's here alone. Satine died. You know, there's just so much here that, like, if the Jedi were less stupidly stuck in their ways from, I don't know, it's not human to not have attachments. You just have to teach people to not be ruled by their attachments. And when they're not human, it's not sentient creature capable of caring and emotion. Jesus Christ. Have they noticed that Satine is not back? Your plan got your sister killed. Oh Lord. I love the music. I mean, obviously no one watching this wouldn't know who he ends up being, that's why they let him do evil smirks and things. But I like the idea that Palpatine, everywhere he went, that music followed him and just no one on the good side noticed. They could have made their little shields a bit bigger.
I haven't felt since Master.
Yes, time to be afraid. Be very afraid. Look, Daddy, I just tried to do a crime empire and kill my enemy. Wow.
Used your training, Master, and I have built all
I became a crazy spider for a while.
to your side.
Except I never did.
You have become a rival.
Is that not inevitable? It is nice that the Death Watch kindly wear red and blue so you can tell them apart.
Lead to a Republic invasion of Mandalore.
Yes, and Maul will die.
Oof.
Mandalore will survive.
You're Satine's sister, aren't you? I'm so sorry.
It was partly her own actions that led us here. Not blaming her solely, because of course it's not her fault, she did not ever envisioned this, but what did she think would happen to Satine? Jesus Christ. I can't believe this is happening as well. I mean, technically speaking, the Republic is invading Mandalore right now, except, you know, in a Sith way. I never thought Palpatine was a gymnast. You're no match for your brother, and this is his master. You're no match for him either, unfortunately. For you. Oh, now he's your brother! Now that he's dying, he's your brother, but when he was alive, he was just that apprentice.
Brother, I am an unworthy apprentice.
Jesus Christ. Did he absorb his power from his brother? Jesus Christ. Is this going to be the end of them?
Please.
There is no mercy.
What? I mean, when have you ever had mercy for anybody? I don't want you dead, but...
Other uses for you.
Oh, Lord. Well, this was quite the episode. Just the punches never stopped coming. I kind of, ever since we met Satine and I knew Mandalore fell, I was like, oh, she's definitely going to die. And the fact that she's not really brought up at any point in the movies, you're like, oh, so clearly, you know, like, it's not like Obi-Wan's sneaking up to visit her or whatever. And oh, it's just so sad to think of how long they've cared about each other, how long they've had this love for each other that it's endured. You know, neither of them have found anybody else. There was never really a suggestion that she had anybody else. And that the Jedi, I can understand the logic of it. It being like, if you have an attachment to somebody else and then you might put their well-being ahead of the greater good, and that's not what a Jedi should do. But what you ought to do is understand that sentient creatures who possess emotions, empathy, and are good people, aka everyone you want to be a Jedi, they are going to form attachments to people, whether they like it or not. It could be to a fellow Jedi, it could be anybody else. But you have to teach them to how to cope with that. You have to teach them when to step back, when to go to a fellow Jedi and say, I'm having a trouble keeping myself focused on the mission because my wife and children are in danger. And then that Jedi might be able to just say, okay, well, you're stepping back and I will take over. You know, I think that would be a far healthier way to do it. It wouldn't be perfect, sure, but this system isn't perfect either. You just deprive Jedi of getting to have certain connections that they might otherwise want, or you get the Anakin situation where he did it all sneakily, which doubled his insecurities and his fear of losing everything, and then helped him slip into the dark side. So the Jedi needed to evolve with the times, or just acknowledge what wasn't working, and that wasn't working, because if two of our main characters have got serious relationships or potential for relationships, and those are like of all the Jedi we've met, how many of the Jedi that we don't really know anything about were also having secret love affairs or yearnings? Because Obi-Wan never once, I don't believe, did anything. You know, it's not like he got married to her and got her pregnant with twins, but he loved her and he came here on an unsanctioned mission, and, you know, had it been just a takeover of Mandalore by the Death Watch, Mandalore could have accused the Republic and the Jedi of meddling by sending him. You know, what he did in this episode, according to the Jedi, was the big no-no. But he did it, and it's probably quite an open secret that he did it. He's going to go back and be like, okay, so when I went to Mandalore, the Sith were there. You know, I just despair of them, the Jedi, at how many issues they could have fixed and how much better their lives would have been if they just got over that system. That being said, it was beyond heartbreaking. I kind of, in that scene, I was like, oh, she's going to die at some point, and I kind of just, no real emotions. Obviously, I don't think it was as sad as it would have been if she wasn't obviously a character that was going to die, but just that moment where she died and he was right there, and, you know, he'd come to try and rescue her, and in that moment she believed she was safe, and, you know, they did everything together. Every scrape they've been through, every battle they've been through, he's been able to manage to pull something out of the bag at the last second and save her, and he just had to watch her die. And then for Bo-Katan, who now wants possession of the Darksaber that killed her sister. I know that it represents more than that to Mandalore, but that is the blade that killed her sister, so I wonder if that adds anything into her feelings towards it. But for Obi-Wan to kind of see that, to lose his sort of strongest connection to outside of the Jedi world, and to feel like it was because he didn't do enough, he wasn't enough, I do also think it would breed a little resentment in him, because you just think, if the Jedi had just sent people with me, if it hadn't just been me, we would have got out of there and I would have saved her. You know, the fact that he doesn't give in to that feeling and he stays loyal to the Jedi really, I think, does have a testament to how much he believes in their values, and he believes in the mission of the Jedi. Even though I do think it being so closely allied to the Republic, aligned even to the Republic, kind of skews that mission a little bit when they're in a war. And, you know, the Separatists admittedly being led by, like, Dooku does make it a Jedi thing because he's a Sith, but the individual planets that Dooku is using, they just want freedom, and it's all kind of a weird, messy situation, which I really like, because in the real world, it's never, I mean, occasionally it's black and white, but it's not usually a black and white situation where, you know, one side in the war is the good guys and the other side is the bad guys. Everyone has their own reasons and their own explanations. So my heart is breaking for Obi-Wan. And then Bo-Katan is such an interesting character. I can see a little bit more why people were so mad at me when I didn't like her in The Mandalorian. But in my defense, she just showed up and suddenly started telling my beloved Mandalorian that he was wrong and stupid and everything he believed in was a lie, and that his honour wasn't honour and his way wasn't the way. And to me, it just felt very uncalled for, okay? She got him onto that mission, she didn't tell him all the facts, I can't entirely remember. She just annoyed me, okay? I think she'd still have been annoying in that episode, but more because when you watch a show, you're defensive of that character, you're protective of that character. But it is so great seeing her backstory and really seeing everything that led to her wanting to reclaim the Darksaber and make a new Mandalore. Now, obviously, I don't know exactly what happened to Mandalore, and I don't know if it does happen in the Clone Wars, like I kept saying in the last couple of episodes, or if it happened potentially during the era of the Empire. It may well have been the Empire that wiped them out. That kind of might make sense. But given that they're on Mandalore and Palpatine was like, I have other plans for you, ha 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 ha, it could well be that that is something linked to it. But definitely the Death Watch teaming up with Maul. Maul wasn't like, I'm going to go to Mandalore next. That was, he took what he had in, like, he's very good at taking advantage of what the of the options he's given, and one of those options was Mandalore, and he took full advantage of that. And they thought, oh, you know, we're just going to double cross him at the last second, as though Maul wouldn't be able to deal with that, anything they could throw at them, as though he wasn't more powerful than they could even imagine. And I do think going forwards, Bo-Katan will have and should have guilt over what happened to her sister and what happened to Mandalore. Now, obviously, I don't know all the ins and outs of when she joined the Death Watch, why she joined the Death Watch, when she left her sister and her family, and I would love to know more about that. I would love that story so much, because I do think that she truly just believed in this ideology of the Death Watch, which then makes it funny that she was so dismissive of our Mandalorians' ideology, when it's like, you used to be the extremist one, and I get that he's like a different sect of stuff, but don't throw stones in glass houses. But it is undeniable that the Death Watch caused this specific situation. And I don't know, maybe Satine was too rigid in, like, we are a pacifist nation, but she had guards. She had people that, when they were attacked, would fight back. It wasn't like they were a nation that would just refuse to fight, like some of the random villages we come across. I think the Death Watch's goals would have been far better had they sort of been willing to compromise, been willing to come to a middle, where it wasn't the whole civilization that had to become woo warriors, but that if you wanted to be a warrior, if your family, your house, or just an individual wanted to take that way of life, that you could do it, but that you could do it in a way that was dedicated to protecting Mandalore and the systems it protects. You know, that would have been, I think, a really healthy middle, and it's such a shame that they didn't find that. I am very intrigued about what did happen to Mandalore. If it didn't happen in the Clone Wars, if it happens in between, please let me know, and let me know what happens. If I'm going to see in The Mandalorian or in any of the other shows, well, not in The Mandalorian, if I'm going to see in the Clone Wars or in any of the other shows, then just let me wait and find out. But, oh, it's just such a rich story, you know. I feel awfully for Bo-Katan, because while I am saying I think she should and does feel a degree of guilt for what happened, I also think that there are a lot of other situations. There was also her leader who was behind it. She was never particularly in support of, you know, she kind of voiced her opposition to using the Sith. So I'm not, you know, she is not to blame for what happened. And even her boss, her dead mentor, wasn't exactly to blame. He was just an idiot to blame, partly to blame, if anything. So that's just a really heartbreaking turn of events, but such a fascinating one, because I was really puzzling in the last episode. How does Bo-Katan fit? Because I was like, this random girl running around with Death Watch doesn't fit to me as being someone who's like, I am the rightful heir to Mandalore. But being the sister of Satine, now does that mean they have another sibling somewhere, because that sibling's the one that had Corgi? Is he alive? Is he dead? Is he still in prison? Whatever happened to him? We didn't, because he got like hit on the head, and I would have assumed he was captured, but at no time was Satine like, you must rescue my nephew, so I don't know. I guess they have another sibling. And him? Is that sibling dead? Does he die? Is he dead now? Just, that's another thing. If you've watched this far and you know that, and it's not something that they talk about in the show, then please let me know. But yeah, it just, this really has added a rich tapestry to The Mandalorian, to those scenes where we meet Bo-Katan and her fellow surviving Mandalorians. I find it interesting that the people we've met who were with her, who were Mandalorian, were not very pale skin, blue eyes, blonde hair, when it seemed like when they did like crowd shots of Mandalore, it really struck me at how blonde and blue-eyed they were as a race, which is interesting. But I don't know anything about Mandalore. Obviously, there's just one city. Probably there were other cities that were more diverse. They've just shown a very like Aryan city here. So that was all just so fascinating. And then we have the Sith and Palpatine. And I love that Palpatine, Chancellor of the Republic, secret Sith Lord, was just like, I'm just going to hop on my shuttle and go deal with some business. Don't mind me. You know, the Senate's like, oh, we need the Chancellor for this emergency vote. Where is he? And everyone's like, he took a holiday day. No one noticed. But, I mean, he is the Chancellor. He can do what he wants. And probably he knew that there was no other crisis or anything. He knew it was a safe time to go. and he could sense in the Force that they were getting stronger and he had to act soon or else. Savage Press, it's gone. I mean, I'm assuming he's dead. He did get stabbed twice and then dramatically thrown miles away. Maybe he's going to be like, ugh. I mean, given that his brother did get chopped in half, so we will see. But that was extreme. And then Palpatine just easily defeating them. Chilling, really, isn't it? Like, this way you see someone like Maul who has spent these episodes swaggering around like he is so powerful, and the way his entire demeanour changed the minute Palpatine walked in. And I did have to laugh when, as his brother was stabbed, he suddenly goes, brother, not apprentice. Maybe if he'd done a bit more of that before, things would have been nicer for him, I don't know. But yeah, that fight was so intense, and now Palpatine defeated him in battle, so he is the rightful holder of the Darksaber, which explains how it gets into the hands of the Empire for it to end up with Gideon. Was it in any of the movies? Was that like the blade Palpatine used in the movies? I don't remember, but just such a good episode, such a good arc. No idea if it continues in the next episode. I think someone mentioned in one of my YouTube comments that these are like 4-episode arcs from here on out, more or less, most of them, which this would be the end if that is the case, but it's definitely not the end of this story. This was a fantastic episode. A reminder that you can find the unedited version of this reaction on my Patreon, and thank you for watching.